so he immediately went home to consult ancient books. Nick found a kind of monster called a giant cicada monster. They have sharp serrated tentacles. Every 7 years they will burrow out from the ground to forage, especially like plump and juicy women. Once successful in hunting, it will take the prey back to the nest and continue to sleep. And the grass in the park where the deceased was first found is likely to be the location of the giant cicada monster's nest. Sure enough, on the other side, the giant greedy monster took the fat girl for a walk in the park. The fat girl regarded him as her own love, but she didn't know that in the eyes of this handsome man, the fat girl is just a delicious meal. The man asked her to turn around, said he was going to give her a surprise, and then
They sound so happy.
the giant monster used his hands and feet. Hurry up and dig a hole. At the same time, Nick and several others also rushed over according to the clues. Seeing this scene, the giant monster didn't say a word, immediately started fighting with the two of them. But just then, an accident suddenly happened. A monster suddenly bit off the head of the giant toad. It turns out that the fat girl is a hippo monster. This is really the police catching cicadas, with the hippo behind. This is a terrifying three-eyed baby-eating monster, with 3 eyes and 3 hands, specializing in tender babies as food. Seeing the baby so cute, the monster's heart is very reluctant, but he has to eat it, because he has a premonition that when the baby grows up, it will be a demon who kills without blinking. In the middle of the night, a man is browsing web information, but when he saw a baby, his head suddenly came with a sharp pain, because he predicted that when this baby grows up, he will kill his own parents with his own hands. In order to prevent the tragedy from happening, he decided to strangle this baby in the cradle. According to the positioning, he quickly sneaked into the baby's home, although he was very careful, but he was still discovered by the baby's mother.
Oh my God, what are you doing? What are you doing? Put it down! Put it down!
Hearing the noise, the baby's father also hurried over, but when he arrived, the quartz monster had already disappeared with the baby.
Our baby! It took our baby!
The next day after receiving the police, Nick and 3 others soon came to this family. The woman said it was a 3-eyed monster who took her baby away, but the husband didn't believe in any monsters at all. He thinks his wife must have seen it wrong, no matter how the wife explains, but the husband just doesn't believe it. So Nick let the woman draw the monster's portrait on the spot, because Nick and Shohei are very clear. In this world, there really are Grimm monsters. According to the monster image, Nick and the others immediately went home to consult ancient books. Soon Shohei found something. According to ancient records, there is a kind of monster called a 3-eyed baby-eating monster, specializing in babies as food. They have 3 eyes and 3 hands, just like the woman's painting. This kind of monster can see the future, and directly eat the baby carrying bad luck. If this is the case, then the lost baby is in
And we have got to stop this baby-eating bastard.
On the other side, the baby cried non-stop after being brought home by the man, thinking that the baby will become a killing demon. The man immediately drew the prototype, decided to eat the baby directly. But when he picked up the baby, seeing the baby so cute, he couldn't help but touch it with his hand. He found that the baby's body was very hot. Obviously, it was a fever. The man was soft-hearted for a moment. In the end, he still didn't do anything to the baby.
Lo sé, pequeño, lo sé. Estás enfermo.
The man was in extreme pain. Suddenly he collapsed on the ground. The shop assistant kindly came up to ask, but when he saw the man's terrifying appearance, he was immediately taken aback. Then Nick and 3 others came to the pharmacy to check the surveillance. They found that the man had fled in a red car. According to the license plate number, he quickly found his home address. On the other side, after the man fed the baby medicine, the baby who had a fever was no longer crying. But just then, Nick suddenly broke the door. Seeing this scene, the man drew the prototype, immediately started fighting with several people.
Get the baby. Baby's fine.
Although the quartz monster's combat power was amazing, but he with 3 hands. In the end, he was taken down by Nick and 3 others on the spot.
Settle down.
After returning to the police station, the man said that his third eye could see the future, and told his own guess to the two. Seeing that Shohei still didn't believe it, in a hurry, he asked Shohei to check a person named Kenneth. At that time, he let go of the baby in a moment of soft-heartedness. As a result, when the baby grew up, he became a killing demon. For this, he felt very guilty. Absolutely can't let the tragedy happen again.
Please.
Then Nick and two others immediately looked up the information. Sure enough, they found a criminal named Kenneth. When he was a child, he had been kidnapped and disappeared for 2 days, but on the third day, he was mysteriously sent back home by someone. When he grew up, he killed 10 people in a restaurant and was arrested and imprisoned. On the other side, in the man's mind, the picture of the baby killing after growing up emerged again. The boy wrapped a gun in a towel, directly shot and killed his biological parents. The man foamed at the mouth, in extreme pain, immediately drew a circle and grew arms. A heavy punch knocked out the police officer, escaped on the spot. That night the man broke into the baby's house again, said he had to deal with this demon baby. At this time, Nick and several others also rushed over. Without saying a word, they immediately started fighting with the quartz monster. Nick raised his leg. A kick kicked the quartz monster downstairs. The dying man, in the end, he only said a bare word. Nick and two others didn't know why. They were just about to leave. Unexpectedly, they found that the couple was blaming each other for the baby. The husband angrily threw down a blanket, and the blanket was printed with a bear pattern. Looking at the blanket in his hand, and the quarreling couple, his heart is also mixed. Could it be that when the baby grows up, will he really become a killing demon? He is the most terrifying existence in the Grimm monsters, feeds specifically on elderly monsters. But strangely, not only do the monsters respect him greatly, they even pay him to take their lives. What on earth is going on? In a nursing home in the city late at night, a caregiver is helping an old woman back to her room to rest. Because the old woman suffers from dementia, the caregiver takes extra care of her. But as soon as the caregiver turns around, unexpectedly, the old woman transforms into a monster with sharp teeth and fangs. Fortunately, the monster is old and weak, and is directly pinned to the wall by the caregiver. But as soon as the monster turns back into a human, the head nurse rushes over. He thought the caregiver was beating the old man, no matter how the caregiver explained. But the head nurse just didn't believe it.
See it? Did you see it?
Get out! Listen, I'm hurt.
Stay away from me!
I need help in here now!
Thought the matter was over. But just that night, the old woman had just fallen asleep. A green monster sneaked in, only to see his two tentacles stretching towards the old woman. And the old woman was completely unaware of it. The next morning, Nick and his team quickly arrived at the nursing home, and by this time, the old woman had already lost her life. In order to find out the cause of the old woman's death, they immediately went to the head nurse to understand the situation. The head nurse claimed it must have been that caregiver who killed the old woman. After all, he saw the caregiver choking the old woman's neck with his own eyes last night, pressing her against the wall. Although the caregiver is usually very loving, but it can't cover up the fact that he killed the old woman. But the doctor at the nursing home didn't see it that way. The old man originally suffered from severe dementia, plus she was 91 years old. It's likely a natural death.
Do you think the orderly had anything to do with her death?
Personally, I don't. Given her age and condition, I think she died of natural causes.
On the other hand, the autopsy report of the old man also came out quickly. The old man was not murdered, but it was not a natural death either, because the coroner found a large amount of insect toxin in the old man's body. And this toxin comes from an insect called the assassin bug. The assassin bug uses this toxin, can make the prey die quickly without any pain. In theory, this toxin is of minimal harm to humans, let alone lethal. But even a slight toxin can't stand a large amount. You know, the toxin content in the old man's body is equivalent to the total secretion of tens of thousands of assassin bugs. It's hard for humans to collect so much, so it seems, the old man's death is not simple. In order to learn more about Spring, Nick immediately sought help from the wolf couple. But when Nick explained his intentions, both of them seemed very embarrassed.
Well,
It sounds like you could be dealing with something called a Gevadertod.
a godfather of death.
That does not sound good.
Brother Wolf advised Nick to give up the case, because this kind of monster is not trivial. Rosa explained, elderly monsters can also get dementia, and after dementia, they will be more terrifying than humans. Monsters with dementia will transform unconsciously, and they are extremely aggressive. In order to prevent monsters with dementia from harming humans, the monster's family will invite the spring monster to their home, using the venom secreted by spring. Euthanize family members with dementia. Therefore, the spring monster is also respectfully called the godfather of death by monsters, maintaining the ecological balance between humans and monsters.
Dalvessen have stayed in secret for so long. I know it sounds callous, but it's how our community works.
Do you know how to make contact?
Yeah, we do.
Unless Nick promises not to arrest the spring monster, Brother Wolf will help him make contact.
Yes, we have our word.
Then Brother Wolf called Yi-Chun Monster, pretending to have dementia. Soon he tricked Yi-Chun Monster into his home, but as soon as Yi-Chun Monster entered the door, seeing that Brother Wolf was in good condition, it doesn't look like dementia at all. At this time, Nick and the others also came out. They found out Yi-Chun Monster turned out to be the doctor in the nursing.
I'm a Grimm.
It's okay.
He's a Grimm, but he's a friend.
Grimm.
Knowing that Nick had no malice, Yi-Chun Monster calmed down.
That's better.
Nick just needs him to testify in court, prove that the old woman died naturally. This way he can clear the caregiver of his grievances, and Yi-Chun Monster readily agreed. But just then, Yi-Chun Monster received another customer call. An old man has severe dementia. He needs to go over and perform euthanasia. But when several people rushed over, I saw an old lady lying on the ground. According to him, his spouse has severe dementia. Recently often go out to hurt people. Just now he went out again. Not only did he not stop him, but was knocked down by his spouse. On the other hand, the girl just found a job and was ready to go home. Just happened to be bumped into by the old man who went out. He mistook the girl for his wife. The girl was scared not lightly. Hurry up and run away. At the same time, Nick and the others also rushed over. The old man was confused and emotional. Immediately draw the prototype and want to do it. But he, who was old and weak, was easily taken down by several people and sent home. After returning home, the wife and the old man are making their final farewell. At this time, the old man is also like a dying lamp. The consciousness woke up in an instant. For his wife's decision, he gladly accepted. The couple who have spent their lives together, even if there is more reluctance. At this moment, they have to choose to be separated. Those who are afraid of mice can line up in the comment section. The following story may make you feel uncomfortable. This episode is adapted from the version of the Pied Piper of Hamelin in Grimm's fairy tales. It mainly tells about the rat infestation in the village of Hamelin. The villagers are deeply affected. No one can think of a reliable solution. Suddenly a musician came. The village chief promised to reward with 1,000 taels of gold. Let the musician help the village drive away the rats. The musician blew the magic flute sound, attracted all the mice, drowned them in the river. It can be seen that the prophet forgetting village chief did not fulfill his promise, refused to pay him his reward. The musician was furious, blew the flute again. All the children in the village followed him. Since then, there has been no trace. Grimm's Dark Fairy Tales Episode 5 The Pied Piper of Hamelin. At a noisy underground music concert late at night, everyone is calling the same name. That is the Sloppy Cat. With the appearance of the Sloppy Cat, music sounded. The audience exploded instantly. Although the Sloppy Cat is a superstar, but few people have seen its true face. In a university music room, for students participating in the competition. Working hard overnight, they originally planned to go to see the Sloppy Cat together. Unexpectedly, they were unable to get away due to control. The teacher walked in at this time, gave them a scolding, said that this kind of performance is simply noise, then walked away angrily. On the one hand, it is a dull practice field. On the other hand, it is a noisy concert. Became a sharp contrast. The tragedy happened. He just got in the car and was about to start. Just found a mouse under his feet. There was also a squeaky sound behind him. Then the mice rushed out, climbed onto him. The old man was gnawed and screamed, but it didn't help. The mouse team enjoyed a feast on him. The next morning, a teacher came to school, found something strange in the car. Take a closer look. The man has been eaten into an inhuman form. There are still a few greedy mice eating on him. The police station received a police report. The black and white brothers came to the scene immediately. Shao will briefly describe the situation of the deceased. A mouse is still playing in the corpse's mouth.
Death by rat?
Looks like.
Rats. I can't stand rats.
This scene made Lao He scalp numb. After the car door was opened, countless murderers fled. They took the opportunity to catch a few and send them to the laboratory. Then they found a mouse cage nearby. It says Reg Pest Control Company. The two brothers first questioned the last 4 students in contact with the teacher. Got an important clue. The rich second generation said that Lon Pai might be the murderer, because his father is a pest control officer, and he was expelled from school not long ago. So the two brothers rushed to Lon Pai's house. The poor boy. But he is talented in music. He is playing music for mice at this time. The two found him with the sound of music.
Captivated audience.
Lon Pai also noticed that strangers were coming. Nick and the two showed their identities. Before I had time to ask, was interrupted by an angry old man. He expressed great dissatisfaction with the police coming to the door.
You hear about that teacher dying, aren't you? I heard all about it. Well, we had nothing to do with it.
His son Lon Pai was very surprised when he heard the news of the teacher's death. Old dad thought the police came here to arrest them. Let them be responsible for the case. The man said more and more angry, and spit out fragrance. Seeing this, the police were about to slip away. Unfortunately, he was caught by Lao He. The old man has a big temper, but at this moment, Nick saw it in his eyes. This man, in order to protect his calf, suddenly became emotional and showed his true form. He even started to fight the police indiscriminately. Unexpectedly, he was easily subdued by the two brothers. Nick hurried to chase the fleeing Lon Pai.
I don't want to hurt you. Yeah, you do. You're a Grimm. You want to kill me.
He who wanted to fight back, but was punched back to his original form by Nick.
I'm not gonna kill you.
Nick stated they will not target them because of his identity. Only then did Lon Pai discover the man in front of him is different from the Grimm people in the rumors. The father and son were taken back to the police station for questioning. No matter how Lao He sugarcoated, Lei Gu insisted that they were not the murderers. Those belonged to the dragon were stolen a few days ago. Did not call the police because the police simply ignored it. And these bottom-level commoners, have always been looked down upon. The son was constantly laughed at in school because of his profession. Lon Pai is a music prodigy. Originally, the competition quota should be his, but the teacher gave it to other additional students. Lao He suspected that this was the motive for murder. On Nick's side, Lon Pai confessed that he was not at the scene at the time.
Where were you?
I was at a rave.
You there with you?
About a couple hundred.
Nick confirmed through the organizer's proof. He did not lie. He was attending a concert at the time of the crime. Also learned that he is the sloppy cat that everyone admires. Lao He guessed that someone must have framed him. Otherwise, they would not throw his mouse cage at the scene. Wait for the police to catch. Then Lon Pai was released. But his father was temporarily detained for assaulting the police. On the other side, the forensic sister also made new progress. Sister Fat judged that the victim was not lightly frightened. Died of a heart attack.
That he was on digoxin and angiotensin for his heart. He's kind of high up on death's to-do list.
Normal people in that situation. How can you not abandon the car and run away first? There is still time to take medicine. Is his reaction too slow? Xiaobian said it is difficult to understand. At this time, Sister Fat brought out another corpse. He found in the mouse's stomach besides human flesh. There are also some red and green nylon fibers. Does not match the victim's clothing? The two brothers followed this clue. Continued the follow-up investigation. The released Lon Pai did not go home. He was peeping outside a villa. A car stopped in front of the villa. He secretly followed. It turned out to be his ex-girlfriend Xiao Mei. Now it is the rich second generation's girlfriend. Xiao Mei said that she believed Lon Pai was framed. So, he had to break up with this poor boy under the pressure of his parents, while the two were talking. Unfortunately, it was seen by Xiao Mei's mother. Stop it.
Stay away from my daughter. Stay away from my family.
Lon Pai was about to leave angrily, just walked to the door and met the love rival. It's really raining and I didn't bring an umbrella. Unlucky to the extreme.
What are you doing here, rat boy? Come on, do it. Wonder what the police will say when they get in. You're gonna pay. Some of us can afford to.
Lao He also found the source of the fiber. It is a decoration that only some high-end cars will have. After excluding everyone's economic situation, only the rich second-generation Carter is left. After work, Lao He asked Nick to go to the bar for a few drinks, but he politely refused. Turned his head and went to Uncle Wolf's house. Sure enough, they are good friends. Uncle Wolf knows a little bit about mouse spirits. They are at the bottom of the food chain, often looked down upon by other Grimm creatures. That Lego family is really miserable. In the human world and the Grimm world, they are all at the bottom. When Nick heard this, I really feel a little pity for this talented young man. Nick returned home at night. There was a man's heavy panting in the kitchen. I saw the repairman sticking his butt into the refrigerator. This scene is too funny.
How long has this been going on?
Oh, since 4:30.
I'm sorry! I'm going as fast as I can.
Will you be done tonight?
What, do you think I'm gonna sleep here?
At this time, the repairman cut his hand. Juliet was looking for a band-aid in the gap. The worker turned around and said hello to Nick. Almost didn't scare out the problem. He turned out to be a fluffy mole. I thought Nick was indiscriminate. Grimm was scared and ran away. This mouse has been gutted. Inside its stomach, besides human flesh, there was also a strand of high-end fiber. Based on this clue, the police found the rich second-generation Carter, the blanket in his BMW, the material and color all matched. They also got a surprise chocolate French fries. Now the evidence is conclusive. All they need to do is catch the murderer. But Carter has disappeared.
Tell us where your son is.
Well, in that case, we'll have to put a warrant out for his arrest. He'll be taken to Central Jail.
Whoa. He's just out with friends.
Then Old Black received an arrest warrant. On the other side, Blue Skin received a call from the police station. His father was injured for refusing to go into the cell. He is still in a coma. Need to stay in the hospital for observation. The initial diagnosis is a concussion, and it can only be visited after 48 hours. Blue Skin exploded instantly after hearing this. Hang up the phone. The spirit is close to running away. A crazy demolition of the house. He stepped on the class photo, then came to the mouse farm. Open every cage in the atmosphere. Then he set his house on fire. With a mighty army of mice, he began his revenge plan. He first issued an invitation to a concert in the name of the Sloppy Cat. The four of them thought they could see their idols tonight. The mood is particularly comfortable. Little did they know that danger was approaching. In the warehouse, the Sloppy Cat was playing pleasant piano music. Use music to control the little brother mouse to hide, just waiting for the prey to be hooked. The four people ignored the calls from their parents. They entered the underground dance party with laughter, but there was no one else but them. The little friends thought they were too early. Blueskin stopped playing music and accused.
You stole the cages, you rented the car, you killed him.
Everyone was stunned. How did he know? Then he said,
It's your turn.
Hearing this familiar voice, several people were shocked. Only then did they know that Blue Skin was the Sloppy Cat. With the sound of music, countless mice emerged around them and launched an attack on them. At this time, the three men actually abandoned Little Beauty. Just take care of yourself and run away. Little Beauty was besieged by a large group of mice and shrank on the ground. Blue Skin stopped playing as soon as he saw this. At the critical moment, Old Black fired a few shots, scared the mice to scatter and flee. Nick hurriedly stepped forward to save the girl, but Blue Skin left lonely. Then the three of them confessed what happened.
Dr. Lawson. Just wanted to scare him and make it look like Roddy did it so Carter could take his place.
Nick found Blue Skin in a dark corner. Ask him if all this is worth it. The teenager was silent. Suddenly Nick changed his seriousness and joked.
Can't say I ever used rats to get a confession. You're lucky no one got hurt. Except Dr. Lawson.
Although the case was broken, but the report is a problem for Old Black. Not to mention how many mice to write, and what charges to prosecute Blue Skin. Nick shook his head and said forget it. This kind of absurd plot, don't bother the judge. Then he handed over the pizza casually.
Slice? Sure.
Damn, that's not funny.
My man.
Oh, it's funny if he knew it was there. Chuckle now, but payback's a bitch and she bites.
This mouse shape is too festive. The editor likes it. Do you like it? See you in the next episode. This woman is a jaguar with sharp teeth and claws. But even so, her husband was still beaten to death by a gang of thugs. Seeing this scene, the passing Heisey just wanted to speak up to stop. Unexpectedly, the other party attacked him. In panic, Heisey was scared and hurriedly drove away from here. And the scene of Heisey's escape just happened to be seen by the restaurant owner. But the boss just turned his head, quickly found the couple who were seriously injured and fell to the ground. Without thinking too much, the boss hurriedly dialed the police.
I'll be right back.
By the time Nick and others arrived, the woman has been sent to the hospital. The man was already lifeless at this moment due to severe injuries, but his wallet and cash are still there. Obviously this is not a simple robbery and murder case. According to the restaurant owner next door, he only saw Heisey hurriedly driving away from here. As for the course of the crime, he didn't know. In this way, Heisey became the biggest suspect in this case, without thinking too much. According to the vehicle information investigated, Nick and others soon found Heisey's home.
Portland PD. We're looking for Tyler Ellis.
But the moment the door opened, Shohei was stunned.
Hank!
Missouri?
It turns out that the black girl who opened the door and Shohei are old acquaintances. Also the dream goddess Shohei is pursuing, and the car downstairs is Heime's. According to him, last night, his younger brother and girlfriend went to the restaurant for a date, so he lent the car to his younger brother. Just as they were asking about Heisey's whereabouts, Heisey just walked in the door.
Jared, these detectives are here. They want to know where you were last night.
Knowing that the police were looking for him, Heisey didn't say a word, immediately dropped things and ran away. Without thinking too much, Nick and others immediately chased after him. Heisey just ran downstairs. He was directly knocked down by Nick.
Get off of him!
Suri!
Get off of him! Jared!
Stop!
Don't fight back!
Don't lose your temper.
Nick said he would not hurt him, just want to clarify the course of the crime that night. Then he took Heisey back to the police station. But what's strange is, facing the questioning of Nick and others, Heisey said he didn't see the murderer. By the time he passed by, the murderer has already run away, and let Nick and others stop asking. But judging from his expression, obviously he is fearing something. It seems that the murderer is someone else. Helpless, Nick and Xiaohei had to go to the hospital. The woman's husband was killed. Presumably the woman must know something. But what the two did not expect was, facing their inquiries, the woman actually refused to mention it again.
I got nothing to say to you.
Nick was puzzled. Your husband was beaten to death. Don't you want to catch the murderer? Nick deliberately described the tragic situation of her husband. Want to stimulate the woman to tell the truth. Sure enough, the woman was recruited. It turns out that the woman is a jaguar. After recognizing Nick Green's identity, the woman was scared right away. Nick said he just wanted to investigate the case and would not hurt him. The woman confessed. The husband was killed by another gang organization. In this way, this is likely to be a dispute between two gang organizations, and Rosa happens to have heard a little about it. According to Rosa, in the local city of Portland, there is indeed a gang composed of jaguars. Recently, a gang in Seattle came to Portland. It is likely to grab the site. This killed the leader of the jaguar. It seems that Heisey and the woman don't want to say more. Definitely worried about retaliation from the Seattle gang. Sure enough, Heisey's home was in trouble soon. Worried about exposing his identity, the black boss broke into Heisey's house with his men. They have to get rid of Heisey anyway. Heisey's siblings ran away in a hurry, finally hid under a staircase. Seeing the gangsters approaching step by step with guns, a siren suddenly sounded. It turned out that Xiaohei drove to catch up. Seeing this scene, the black boss had to retreat temporarily. After experiencing this, Heisey has no scruples anymore. For his own safety and his sister, he didn't hesitate anymore. Immediately identified the black boss who led the crime, and several of his younger brothers. After confirming the identity of the murderer, the captain immediately ordered a full search. But what I never expected was, Heisey's girlfriend was caught by the gang. They forced the girl to make an appointment with Heisey. Otherwise they will kill people and kill their mouths.
They're here, they're gonna keep.
Without thinking too much, according to the agreement, Heisey hurriedly came to his girlfriend's house alone, but as soon as he entered the door, he was knocked down by the gangsters.
Girlfriend? Came to the right place.
Heisey was furious immediately. His eyes also became fierce, but he is not a three-person opponent. The angry Heisey had to suppress his anger, but at this time, the gangsters said that the police were coming. The boss ordered them to stop the police. He is responsible for killing Heisey and two others.
Kiss your girlfriend goodbye for you.
Seeing that there was only the black boss left in the room, Heisey immediately transformed. A pounce directly knocked the black. At the same time, Nick and Xiaohei also came outside the door. Nick relied on super hearing, quickly judged that the other party's revolver was changing bullets. Without thinking too much, the two broke the door, directly killed a gangster on the spot, and another gangster was also shot by Xiaohei. On the other side, Heisey took his girlfriend out of the house, but I didn't expect the black boss to wake up and chase out with a gun soon. Just as the black boss was about to shoot, suddenly a figure knocked him to the ground, and the person who came was Heisey's sister, Heimei. Heimei bit the man's neck, but at this time, Xiaohei and others happened to come over. Seeing this scene, Xiaohei hurriedly pleaded for Heimei, said Heimei did this to save people, to fulfill the good things of brothers. Nick immediately let him take Heimei away from here, knowing that Heimei is a jaguar. Xiaohei didn't care about it, but unfortunately, Heimei did not accept Xiaohei's pursuit, because he knows the truth of the difference between humans and monsters. For this, Xiaohei didn't force it anymore. It's just that what makes him depressed is, the dream goddess I have liked for a long time. The real body turned out to be a monster. There seems to be 10,000 horses running in his heart. So the question is, if Xiaohei really gets together with Heimei, what would their children? The girl is a fire-breathing monster from ancient times. As soon as she opens her mouth, she can spit out flames. With her own talent, soon became the signboard of the circus. It is the most profitable existence in Grimm's monsters. But her father was careless for a while, directly burned half of his face. From then on, he was devastated. When you see people, it's a mess. Received the police. Nick's team rushed to the scene immediately, but before they got there, several people smelled a smell of barbecue. The severity of the scene is even more chilling, not to mention the unrecognizable corpse. The skin is even burned out of existence. But what's strange is, there is no smell of an accelerant here. For a while, I didn't know what happened here. At this moment, a puddle of liquid on the ground caught Lao Hei's attention, so he immediately took out a match for an experiment. Sure enough, as soon as the match was put on, there was a violent reaction. Lao Hei immediately speculated, this substance is extraordinary. It must be left left by the murderer, after testing by technicians, but found that this is not fuel. It is actually composed of human fat. In this way, this murderer must not be simple. Where does such a large amount of human fat come from? This can't help but make people feel creepy. But before I figured it out, the alarm call came again. The scene of the crime is still that steel factory. No time to think. Nick's team immediately went to check. According to the police officer, it was a tramp who attacked him, then rushed into the steel factory. This is likely to be the arsonist. Time is not to be lost. They divided their troops into 2 routes for encirclement. Don't give the tramp any chance to escape. But after searching for most of the day, the factory is still dead silent. On the other side, Lao Ning is also searching nervously. At this moment, there was a sudden noise around. Lao Ning didn't say a word. Hurry up and pull out the gun to be alert. Search in the direction of the sound. But what he didn't expect was, the murderer took the initiative to attack first. Instantly sprayed him with an unknown liquid. But luckily, Nick and the 2 came to support in time. Facing the aggressive tramp, Nick directly pulled out the gun alarm. But I didn't expect the tramp to be fearless. Then he turned into a fire. A dragon rock sprayed at Nick. Before long, the cunning fire-breathing monster broke free. He still had a bag of stolen copper products in his hand. It turns out that his purpose of this trip, just to build a castle for his daughter. It must be made of pure copper. This is their tradition. Fortunately, Nick's team is fine. Hurry back to the police station. The data shows, this person used to be an excellent welder, but because of a mistake, he burned half of his face. From then on, he was devastated. After investigation, he also has a daughter. In a circus performance, no time to think, Nick immediately went to question. Enter the ballroom. I just found out that the audience sitting below. It's all kinds of weird monsters. As expected, the little dragon girl also showed her original shape when she saw Nick. He relied on his fire-resistant attributes, directly swallowed the torch. To query more clues, Nick followed the little dragon girl home as soon as she drove home. It didn't take long, just successfully found the residence of the little dragon girl. Nick quietly went up to check, vaguely saw the yard is emitting a fire. Seeing this scene, Nick broke in without saying a word. Unexpectedly, he was ambushed by the little dragon girl hiding in. The little dragon girl found out Nick Grimm's identity, immediately stopped the attack. He decided to make good use of Nick, and facing this godly little dragon girl, Nick hurriedly fled the scene. In order to figure out the origin of the fire-breathing monster, Nick immediately came to the trailer. Check the records according to ancient books. This kind of fire-breathing monster is extremely dangerous. They can turn the fat in their bodies into fuel. Murder and arson do all the evil. It's just like the existence of bandits. As expected, when Nick returned to the bedroom to sleep, I found something wrong with my wife. Turn around and look. Suddenly let Nick dragon on the spot.
What do you care? You've got me now.
Realized that something is wrong. Nick hurriedly asked his wife's whereabouts. Who knows that the little dragon girl just coughed twice, just spit out a mouthful of magma, then ran away. It turns out that in order not to let his father's fire be confused, the little dragon girl has already tied Nick's wife, tied to his castle. And what he has to do, is to attract Nick to duel with his father, so as to help his father regain his heroism. Knowing this news, Nick can't sit still anymore. Immediately found the wolf brother to help. Relying on the guidance of the map, the 2 quickly found the monster's nest. On the other side, the little dragon girl also tied Juliet, then woke up his sleeping father, and told him that the identity of this opponent is Grimm. Must go all out. At the same time, Nick and the 2 also entered the nest. They decided to act separately. Let the wolf brother go to rescue Juliet. Try to delay time yourself. Time is not to be lost. Nick picked up a steel bar and walked into the dark, but I didn't expect that at a corner. The fire-breathing monster took the initiative to launch a sneak attack. I saw a dragon rock coming on the face. Nick was hit without the power to parry, but the fire-breathing monster also has a cooling time. Nick seized this gap, directly rushed forward to fight with it. Unexpectedly, the fire-breathing monster is so powerful, it's not inferior to Nick, who was Grimm's identity. But when the fire-breathing monster is ready to spit out the dragon's eye again, Nick seized the opportunity, directly stabbed the rebar into the other's body. Just like that, once fierce fire-breathing monster here draw a full stop.
Dad! You fought valiantly, Dad. You did.
Looking at his father's heroic death, the little dragon girl is also proud of him. Then he said it was his turn. As soon as the voice fell, he vomited all the fat in his body. With an explosion, this farce ends here. But what everyone didn't expect was, after Nick and a few people left, the little dragon girl actually walked out of the nest. I have to say, this vitality is really tenacious. Wolf Brother is the ceiling of the combat power of the Blood Wolf clan, but his opponent is even more terrifying. It turned out to be the Lion King, the king among the beasts. When the werewolf faces the Lion King, who will have the upper hand? This day the Lion King led the clan to hunt. Only let the little daughter, the blonde girl, stay at home. But what the Lion King didn't know was, this hunt made him regret for life. Soon the Lion King led the clan into the forest. The hunting ceremony is about to begin.
Are you ready?
I said, are you ready? Yeah! To the hunt! To the hunt! To the hunt! To the hunt!
Wait until night. The ferocity of the Lion King completely broke out. The members of the lion group also showed their original form one after another. Such hunting, they have to hold it twice a week, just to train the young lions in the clan. But what the old Lion King didn't know was, this time the young lion caused a big disaster. On the other side, a boy on the road wants to hitch a ride, but the passing vehicles did not stop. Then, accompanied by a low growl and scream, the boy soon got a boxed lunch. Early the next morning, Nick and Xiaohei, who received the police, rushed to the scene of the crime. According to Old Wu, a jogger passed by here in the early morning. His dog smelled the smell of blood, found the boy's body. From the wounds on the deceased, it looks like it was attacked by a beast. Nick also found a beast footprint next to him, but I have never heard of wild beasts appearing here. A few people couldn't help but doubt, this is likely to be another Grimm creature committing a crime. Without thinking too much, Nick immediately found Wolf Brother for help. But when I saw that beast footprint, Wolf Brother speculated that it might have been left by the Lion King. In order to verify his speculation, Wolf Brother immediately went to the scene to investigate. Sure enough, Wolf Brother soon saw the clue. The body of the wolf child was not eaten by the lion. Wolf Brother suspects this. It is likely to be a hunt by the lion group. The purpose is to train the cubs of the lion group, but there is no smell left at the scene. Only saw blood stains on the ground.
Maybe we can track the blood trail.
So the three of them followed the bloodstains all the way to found that the bloodstains passed through the iron net into a farm, and the iron net obviously has traces of being damaged. Will the murderer hide in the farm? But the three of them just drove into the farm. Two men suddenly came over. After learning the purpose of Nick and others, the young man was very unhappy. Obviously they are not welcome. But at this time, the keen Wolf Brother suddenly transformed. The Lion King and his son are not to be outdone. They only knew. The Nick in front of him turned out to be Ming Grimm. Seeing the situation become tense, Xiaohei hurriedly explained that they had no malice, just want to find out the truth about the boy's death. At this time, the blonde girl also came over. He said that his father did take the clan out to hunt last night, but the boy's death has nothing to do with them. Seeing that Nick and others are still unfortunate, the Lion King immediately took them. Came to the hunting camp last night. At this time Nick found, there are still bloodstains on the ground next to it.
It is. Without the blood, you miss the whole purpose.
Who does it belong to?
The Lion King stated, they hunted a rabbit last night. After cleaning the viscera here, it was made into a barbecue. They will not hunt live people like their ancestors. That ancient hunting method is outdated. In order to prove the innocence of the Lion Group, the Lion King also invited Wolf Brother to participate in tonight's hunt. By the way, pass on experience to the cubs of the Lion Group. The hunting ceremony of the Lion Group started again that night. Wolf Brother said nothing, suddenly shook his head and transformed. The cubs looked very excited. But Wolf Brother did not teach hunting experience but taught them. Although Grimm creatures have strong power, but learning to control this power is the most important. Unless life is in danger, don't use it easily. After the speech, the Lion King announced that the hunting ceremony officially began. Wolf Brother carefully observed their every move, but at this time, a monster suddenly sprang out from the side. Seeing this scene, Wolf Brother said nothing and transformed. Immediately chased up at a speed of 100 yards, but soon the monster disappeared.
Where the hell did he?
Just when Wolf Brother was knocked down by the monster. It turned out that this monster was a blonde girl. She has always wanted to participate in the hunting ceremony of the clan, but because she is a girl, the Lion King's father never let him participate. In order to prove herself, she wanted to invite Wolf Brother to hunt together. Also said that the target this time is a human. Wolf Brother hurriedly stopped after hearing this. The girl mocked Wolf Brother as a coward. Without waiting for Wolf Brother to stop, she turned and ran away. Without thinking too much, Wolf Brother hurried back to the camp to find the Lion King, and told him about the blonde girl. The Lion King suddenly felt bad.
Shut up, Todd! Where did you see her? Down by the highway. She said she already picked somebody out.
On the other side, a man who was hiking happened to pass by here, but I don't know that the blonde girl has been staring at her in the dark. The man put down his backpack, just want to take a sip of water and rest. The blonde girl seized the opportunity, suddenly launched a surprise attack on the man. received the notice from Wolf Brother. Nick drove there immediately. At the same time, Nick, who received the news, also drove here, but they just entered the woods. The blonde girl suddenly stumbled and ran over. It turned out that the man panicked and stabbed her in the abdomen with a dagger, and the man was also scared, claiming that the attacker was clearly a monster. At this moment, the Lion King also rushed over with his clan. The blonde girl told her father, the boy before was the one he killed. She just wanted to prove herself to her father. This chose the ancient hunting method, looking at the dying daughter. The Lion King's heart is extremely self-blaming, but it's too late to say anything now. The girl died in her father's arms like this, and this also became the lifelong regret of the Lion King. There is a kind of monster called a fluorescent monster. Their epidermis can emit blue cold light. It looks very precious. It is also favored by collectors. Due to overhunting, their population is very scarce, and female fluorescent monsters during pregnancy all like to eat the uterus of cows, just like pregnant women like to eat sour. So it seems, the murderer must be a fluorescent monster. On the other side, a woman is driving. Suddenly a blue monster appeared in front. After stopping the car, the woman looked around vigilantly, but the next second, the man carried the fainted woman back to his residence. He didn't want to hurt his wife, just want to borrow his car to escape with his wife. But even so, the wife who was about to give birth can't hold on for too long. The man had to find a house to stay temporarily. At the same time, a mysterious man found the previous residence of the fluorescent monster. It turned out that he was an owl who was good at hunting. Rely on hunting fluorescent monsters to exchange for money. If caught by him, the fluorescent monster will undoubtedly die. On the other side, the silver monster found another cow farm. For his wife and unborn child, he can only take risks. But what he didn't expect was, in the dark night, a pair of glowing eyes are staring at him. Every second is shocking. It turns out that this is tracking the owl that came. In order to get the skin of the fluorescent monster, he is bound to kill this couple. I saw him shake his body, draw a round head, just like a 360-degree dead-end rotating radar. A pair of big eyes locked the man's trace. I thought he would be a sniper's blood. Unexpectedly, a shot hit the bag in the hand of the silver monster. On the other side, Nick quickly found the hiding place of the fluorescent monster based on the route near the cow farm. The fluorescent monster who was about to give birth. In panic, suddenly he was scared into his original form. He thought his husband had been killed, so he was extra vigilant to Nick and others.
Stay away from me. Stay away.
But seeing that the child is about to be born, no time to think too much. Several people hurriedly helped to give birth, but at this time, the husband who went out also rushed back, seeing that several people had no malice, then let go. Soon, a baby emitting blue light was born smoothly. This is something to be happy about. Unexpectedly, the owl broke in with a shotgun. Seeing this scene, several people also immediately showed their original form.
Totally stupid.
What about me? What am I worth?
More than a loot dog. What about a Grimm?
Wolf Brother rushed up with a pounce. Unexpectedly, the owl was extremely fierce. A punch knocked Wolf Brother out, but he just got up and returned to the room the next second. The owl was so unwilling to lead a meal.
How much are you worth?
Considering the rarity of fluorescent monsters, and also for the upgrade, Nick did not hold them accountable, arranged for them to leave overnight. The next day when the police arrived, only found the body of the owl monster in the car. He was treated as an alien by the police, also successfully became the scapegoat for this case. So far the truth is clear, the case was successfully solved. This man is a pufferfish monster. He is covered in spikes. Not to mention, he can even spray green venom from his mouth. And once hit by his venom, you will quickly turn into a zombie. Even without any signs of life, he can still attack people. One day, old Wu, who received the police call, rushed to a house. He thought it was a domestic violence incident, but when the two of them entered the door, they found that the room was already a mess, and the female host was lying on the ground without a breath.
I can't find a pulse.
The two of them looked around cautiously, but just then, a figure suddenly sprang out. The man was like a madman, attacking the two of them crazily. Seeing the man about to attack again, old Wu fired several shots at the man. Only then did the man fall to the ground and get his lunchbox. And at this time, the two of them found out. The man looked very strange. Not only were his eyes blood red, but there was also green liquid flowing out of his nose. But what's even more bizarre is, the dead woman on the ground didn't detect any external injuries. So how did he die? In order to find out the cause of the woman's death, after returning to the police station, the coroner was about to dissect him, but suddenly, The woman sat up straight as if she were playing dead. After hearing the news, Nick and a few others were immediately dumbfounded. Can the dead come back to life? Nick and Little Black hurried to the hospital to check, but they were still a step late. It turns out that the pufferfish monster had already found the woman in advance.
Welcome back, ma chère.
By the time Nick and the others arrived, the woman who had come back to life was nowhere to be seen. By checking the hospital surveillance, they locked onto a mysterious man wearing a hat, and at the same time, the test report of the green liquid in the man's nose also came out. It was mainly pufferfish toxin. Not only can it make people fall into madness, if the amount is large, it can also put people into a state of apparent death. Looking at it this way, everything makes sense. Nick speculated, this is likely to be the work of a Grimm monster. On the other hand, the pufferfish monster targeted another man. He didn't say a word and showed his true form, a mouthful of venom. The man quickly turned into a zombie, but this is just the beginning. Then the pufferfish monster got on a bus. In order to form a zombie army, he wants to recruit a lot of zombie brothers. So the pufferfish monster immediately showed his true form. He sprayed wildly at everyone. In just 2 days, the zombies filled a bunch of containers, and the pufferfish monster has become the zombie leader. The zombies are even more obedient to him.
Rest, my children, for soon our Mardi Gras will commence. Your time is coming.
On the other hand, Nick also found some clues in the ancient books. There is a kind of monster called saliva monster. Their saliva can cause apparent death or make people mad, and once contaminated with saliva, you will quickly turn into a zombie and be manipulated. It seems that this is indeed the work of the saliva monster. Sure enough, the city quickly fell into chaos. The number of zombies in the city is increasing. They launch a fierce attack when they see pedestrians. And Nick and a few others were not spared. They were attacked by zombies as soon as they went out to Just as Nick was looking around, suddenly a zombie pounced at him. Nick dodged. The zombie fell from the building. But the zombie did not die from the fall. After getting up, he still attacked people around him crazily. Finally, 3 policemen worked together to subdue it. But just as Nick was about to leave, suddenly another zombie rushed over. Fortunately, Nick is skilled. He knocked the zombie to the ground in a few strokes. Then Nick threw the zombie on the car, planning to take it to Wolf Brother for research.
Can we do this? Hell if I know.
After learning of Nick's intention, Xiaomei immediately took out the ancient books to help look up, hoping to find a way to save the zombies. And the ancient books do record, when the infected are in a zombie state, as long as their central nervous system is stimulated, zombies can quickly return to normal. So Xiaomei took out her own design potion, and a very small syringe.
It is not a pleasant experience.
Oh man.
Combined with a special drug, then with a pop, she directly stabbed the zombie. Sure enough,
Okay?
the zombie quickly regained consciousness.
He's awake.
Get ready.
Who are you? Where am I?
I think it worked.
He told Nick. The pufferfish monster hid them in the containers at the dock, and there are still many zombies there. Without thinking too much, Nick and a few others hurriedly drove over, but the pufferfish monster had expected this.
Let the party commence. C'est bon.
As soon as they got out of the car, they immediately looked around, but the pufferfish monster suddenly opened the hatch, only to see hundreds of crazy zombies. They ran out of the container like a swarm.
Only one at a time.
But there was no time to think. They could only fight to the death with the zombie. It took a lot of effort for a few people to solve a wave, but before they could catch their breath, the pufferfish monster released another wave from the container. Who can stand this? So a few people had to hide separately. But just then, the pufferfish monster suddenly appeared. He laughed at Nick. Nick didn't say a word and chased after him. under the lure of the pufferfish monster. Nick chased all the way into a container. Taking advantage of his unpreparedness, the pufferfish monster sprayed a mouthful of venom on Nick's face.
Good night, sweet Grimm. And flights of angels sing me to thy rest.
And with a turn of the camera, Nick was taken to the plane by the pufferfish monster and locked him in a tin box. But what he didn't expect was, Nick in a state of apparent death quickly woke up. Even if he sprayed venom repeatedly, but the venom did not work. Instead, it stimulated Nick's Grimm bloodline power. He grabbed the pufferfish monster and threw it into the cockpit. The two fought in the cockpit, eventually causing the plane to lose control and crash on the spot. As expected, the pufferfish monster died on the spot, and Nick miraculously survived. At the end of the story, a few cousins developed an upgraded version of the antidote. They opened the container hatch, directly threw the antidote in, and not long after, when the hatch was opened again, all the zombies have returned to normal. This crisis was successfully resolved.
You're okay. You're gonna be okay.
The man is a ferocious troll, considered the most hot-tempered creature in Grimm's monsters. Anyone who provokes him, even if they flee to the ends of the earth, will be found and torn apart by him on the spot.
Where is he?
One day, a judge had just finished work and returned home, but what he didn't know was, he was about to become the first target of the troll's revenge. Sure enough, the sharp judge quickly noticed something amiss. He quickly got up to investigate, but the next second, the troll suddenly broke in through the window. The automatic alarm immediately rang throughout the room. Facing the burly troll, the judge had no power to resist. In panic, the judge pulled out his gun and fired a shot, but the troll's skin was thick and his flesh was thick. The bullet couldn't penetrate his skin at all. This completely angered the troll. He grabbed the judge by the neck and threw him to the ground. In the judge's horrified gaze, he was soon killed by the troll. Not long after, Old Wu, who was patrolling nearby, rushed over, and the scene before him immediately stunned Old Wu. He saw a gavel stuck in the judge's mouth, straight into the body. Such a brutal method of committing the crime. Even Old Wu, who has seen countless cases, also saw his hair stand on end. At the same time, inside a car on the side of the road, the troll picked up a pair of pliers, directly pulled out the bullet stuck on the surface of his skin. Then he took out a bottle of 82-year-old liquor. After taking a few big gulps, he poured it all over his wound, and the pain from the wound immediately made the troll reveal his true form. However, the troll's revenge had just begun. On the other side, the captain and Nick and a few others also immediately rushed to the scene of the crime. The investigation found there was a mysterious fingerprint left on the gavel. But what was strange was, through comparison, that fingerprint was not the troll's, but a Navy soldier's fingerprint. Could it be that the soldier was the one who killed the judge? Without time to think, the captain immediately took people to the soldier's home. But what they didn't expect was, at this moment, the soldier was already lying on the ground, dead. One of his arms was even missing a palm. In this way, the two cases are likely to be the work of the same murderer. But before they could finish their investigation here, something happened on the other side. A woman was killed at home, and her death was even more tragic. Her tongue was cut off and placed on a scale. Seeing this, I was so scared that I hugged my girlfriend. But just then, Xiaohei suddenly recognized the woman's identity. He quickly guessed who the murderer was. It turns out that 3 years ago, Xiaohei took over a case. The woman's husband was killed by De Zhuang. During the process of arresting De Zhuang, a Navy soldier who happened to meet him helped out. The judge who was conducting the trial was the one who died. Under the woman's prosecution, De Zhuang was sentenced to life imprisonment. And 2 days ago, De Zhuang just escaped from prison. In this way, it is very likely that De Zhuang deliberately retaliated after escaping from prison. All the people involved in the case have been killed. Then Xiaohei must be the next target of revenge. In order to ensure Xiaohei's safety, the captain ordered Xiaohei to stay in the police station. According to Xiaohei's recollection, De Zhuang's body is incredibly strong. Facing their attack, there seems to be no pain at all. Nick speculated, De Zhuang is likely to be some kind of Grimm monster. According to ancient records, De Zhuang is very much like a troll. Their bodies are like steel helmets and iron armor. In order to break their flesh, the ancestors of Grimm developed a magical potion and then matched it. A double-barreled shotgun once killed one. And the reason why the Grimm family can make monsters fear, a large part of the reason, is that they know where the weaknesses of various monsters are. But even so, Nick just got home and had an accident. It turns out that the troll couldn't find Xiaohei, so he took his partner Nick to the knife. Want to force out Xiaohei's hiding place. Facing such a human tank, Nick immediately lost his power to parry. Soon he was beaten to the ground by the troll. In a critical moment, Nick's girlfriend Juliet happened to come home. Seeing this scene, Juliet didn't say a word, directly poured a pot of boiling water on the troll's face. Nick also picked up his gun and it was bang. Bang, 2 shots finally drove the troll out of the house. Then the seriously injured Nick was sent to the hospital. After hearing the news, Xiaohei in the police station couldn't sit still anymore. His partner was almost killed by the troll, and he was here as a shrinking turtle. He had to avenge Nick no matter what, until Lao Wu proposed to let Xiaohei act as bait, and then cooperate with the police to arrest. The angry Xiaohei reluctantly agreed, but unexpectedly, Xiaohei just went to the hospital to visit Nick. As soon as he left the house, he was stared at by the troll. Xiaohei had noticed this early. He drove directly to an abandoned factory. He decided to end it alone with De Zhuang. Don't want more people to get hurt because of him.
Stark, you are under arrest. Place your hands behind your head, face down on the ground.
Really like the place you picked. A lot of fond memories here.
Shut up and get down!
At the same time, under Nick's arrangement, Wolf Brother also brought the Grimm ancestors' potion shotgun over. Nick knew that Xiaohei was not the troll's opponent, so he let Wolf Brother follow, support in secret.
Stay where you are!
Sure enough, Xiaohei just wanted to take out his gun and shoot again, but he didn't expect that the bullets inside were used up. Helplessly, he could only engage in close combat with the troll, but how could he be the opponent of the troll? He was beaten to the ground by the troll in a few strokes. In a critical moment, the troll picked up a stone and was about to hit him. Wolf Brother took the opportunity. The bullet coated with potion is really extraordinary. The troll was directly pierced through the chest and got a box lunch. A troll storm ended here. Wolf Brother is a powerful blood wolf monster, but he married a fox demon as his wife, because at the beginning, it was just a glance. Wolf Brother was fascinated.
Only you can take me choice again. Only you.
Due to the intermarriage between werewolves and fox demons, Wolf Brother was taken to trial by the biological committee. The guards even punched and kicked Wolf Brother. When has Wolf Brother ever suffered such humiliation? He immediately drew the prototype of the snow wolf, and knocked out the guard with a punch. Without thinking too much, Wolf Brother quickly picked up the key and unlocked the chain. If he doesn't take the opportunity to escape, all that awaits him is death. Thinking of this, Wolf Brother kicked open the window. If one kick doesn't open it, then give it another kick. So just like that, Wolf Brother quickly climbed out of the window and escaped. But what he never expected was, he had just wanted to run out of the gate, and happened to be seen by the judge who drove over. Without hesitation, Wolf Brother quickly turned around and ran towards the nearby woods. But just as he came to an open space, the scene before his eyes suddenly stunned him. He saw a sharp wooden stick as thick as a thigh, on which was a burnt and terrifying corpse. The deceased, like him, was also because of intermarriage between races. That's why they were brutally executed by the biological committee in this way. Several judges suddenly arrived, and directly dragged Wolf Brother back. Then Wolf Brother was taken to the trial site of the biological committee. It's said to be a trial, but it's actually just a procedure before execution.
Lesson line. 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 Lesson line.
Before the trial began, the judge first splashed pig blood directly on Wolf Brother's face. It's called giving the criminal evolution. Otherwise, they are not worthy to accept their trial. With the completion of evolution, the judge began to read out Wolf Brother's charges.
Get him out. Remove his shackles.
You are charged for violating the law of eigenes Fleisch und Blut, marrying outside your bloodline. For this, you shall stand trial.
For this, Wolf Brother was directly sentenced to death. For such a trial, Wolf Brother naturally disagreed. He immediately drew the prototype of the snow wolf, knocked down several guards and hurriedly fled. But soon, Wolf Brother was caught up by the guards and knocked to the ground. Without hesitation, Wolf Brother bit through a guard's throat on the spot, but he was also caught up by the guards again. Now it's good. Wolf Brother is now guilty of one crime after another. Just like that, Wolf Brother was taken back to court for trial. In order to show the fairness of the trial, they also caught an otter monster who had attended his wedding. And the otter monster is Wolf Brother's good friend, Bard.
Where am I? What's going on? I don't know anything about anybody.
Testify or die.
How long have you known the defendant? How long have I known the defendant?
Getting Wolf Brother's hint, Bard began to recall at 200 times the speed.
Have I met him before? Do I see him around town? Is he a customer? Have I repaired a refrigerator or an air conditioning unit? Because we don't get many calls for air conditioning in Portland. Or do you mean it in a more familiar...
Thank you. Thank you, I'm really...
Just like that, the trial continued until late at night, but Wolf Brother still refused to plead guilty. Although he and Rosa are of different races, but his love for Rosa is unquestionable to anyone. Even if he dies here today, it still won't change his love for his wife.
What is right is my love for my wife, and her love for me. That you will never be able to destroy. Is all that matters, and so you call me an impuro? I love my wife. I always will. That's what real purity is. And I feel sorry for you. Because it is something that none of you will ever know.
Hearing this, the leader let the judges vote. Those who think Wolf Brother is guilty will take off their masks. Without a doubt, the judges did not hesitate. They all took off their masks.
It
is unanimous. The defendant is guilty as charged. And by Fessenrein law, you will now be put to death. Take
you all in hell! No! No, you can't do this! Stop it! You people are insane!
Wolf Brother was dragged away for execution. At the same time, after forcing out the lair of the committee from Ike's mouth, the captain also brought Nick and others over. They prepared their own weapons. They are bound to overthrow this committee that claims to be justice. Just as the judge was about to execute Wolf Brother, Nick and others suddenly found, here directly surrounded a group of judges.
Rosalie!
Seeing this scene, the leader immediately drew the prototype. He quickly ordered his subordinates to start the war.
Take them!
But Nick and others were prepared early. With a few bangs, they killed a few. The situation was quickly brought under control, but there are still a few people who run away in chaos. Little Black quickly caught up with a judge, then he drew his true body. It turns out that he is a troll monster. Taking advantage of Little Black's stunned moment, the troll turned around and ran away, but he was quickly stopped by the captain. The title of the Southern Witch King of the Captain is not for nothing. He grabbed the troll's neck with one hand. In the astonished eyes of Little Black, he directly twisted the troll's neck on the spot. On the other side, Juliet was attacked by the werewolf judge. The pistol was also knocked to the ground. The werewolf held him down. He immediately drew the werewolf prototype. At the critical moment, Juliet's witch power erupted again. With the continuous release of witch power, the werewolf's head burst quickly. He got a boxed meal. I have to say, Juliet's witch power is really terrifying. At the same time, the leader of the committee smelled a dangerous breath. Without hesitation, he quickly drew the blood wolf prototype, but the next second he was knocked to the ground by Wolf Brother. Wolf Brother said he must kill the leader, to vent his anger for himself and his fox sister.
You should have killed me when you had the chance.
But Wolf Brother is injured. He was quickly knocked down by the leader. At the critical moment, the Fox sister suddenly arrived. He rushed up without saying a word. Just like that, under the joint efforts of Wolf Brother and Rosa, the leader was sent to the northwest on the spot. On the other side, the remaining members of the organization were also all arrested. So far, the crisis of Wolf Brothers' intermarriage has finally... Look carefully, these two lizard monsters are having a fit. They are good gentlemen in the Grimm world. I saw two people holding instruments like horns. Take a bite. It's so cool. In excitement, they unconsciously showed their original form. This mysterious gas is called ha. It's going to run out now. Unfortunately, the two brothers of the alien monster are now unable to do so, so they decided to make a big deal. The two rushed directly into the fox's demon shop. It was a beating without saying a word. The fox was scared. He had to say the basement where he was hiding. The two immediately came to the basement. After research, suddenly found a few boxes of potions. Unexpectedly, the fox demon pressed the alarm at this time. In a panic, the two only took away a box of potions. It's okay to rob. One of them retaliated against the fox demon with a foot. Rabbits bite when they are in a hurry, not to mention foxes. The fox demon angrily showed his true body. Bite the lizard monster's calf. The lizard monster showed his original form in pain. He shot the fox demon directly. The police quickly surrounded the scene. Do you know the real identity of the deceased? The original case of selling human organs. The fox demon has provided clues, so after he had an accident, Nick's first reaction was revenge by the monster. The two found a piece of flesh in the fox's mouth. This must be the murderers, because there is no money stolen. The police cannot confirm the black powder lost in the basement. The motive of the murderer is not clear yet. After investigation, the fox demon has a sister in another place. Her name is Rosa. She is the beneficiary of the fox demon's insurance. After learning of her brother's death, Rosa rushed back to Portland. Nick for the first time detailed the case. Hope he can provide some clues. But Rosa said, "My brother is an honest person. No debt, no enemies. The purpose of his trip is to bury his brother and hope that the police will solve the case as soon as possible." Nick took him to the scene of the crime. Looking at the blood left by his brother on the Rosa was heartbroken, unconsciously showed his true body. He is also a fox. After noticing Nick's strange eyes, Rosa panicked and got up and retreated. He suspected that his brother was killed by the Grimm in front of him. Nick spread his hands innocently. "It has nothing to do with me," and did not hurt his brother. Rosa saw his sincere attitude, so I believed a bit. Nick said his guess. He suspects it was done by the monster. The basement was turned upside down. The murderer is likely to be looking for something, then left a business card. Rosa looked at Nick in surprise. The man in front of him is not the same as the Grimm in the legend. Not a fierce god, but full of sunshine. The fear that has been engraved in the bones by parents since childhood. Now it seems a bit unreal. After a while, Nick called Uncle Wolf. Want to use his super sense of smell to help solve the case. I have to say, Uncle Wolf is really a good police dog. After a discernment, he did not live up to expectations and locked the target. This drug has anti-inflammatory and analgesic effects on humans, but for Grimm creatures, that is similar to the existence of L. It exists in the human world, so the police did not pay attention. Rosa stopped Uncle Wolf at this time. He has long suspected, so he took the initiative to show his fox prototype. Uncle Wolf also showed his true body in response. That's right, this man and I are from the same world. The worldview of murder was subverted at this time. One is the Grimm in the legend. The other is a bloodthirsty werewolf. They should be natural enemies. Why are they now intimate partners? Uncle Wolf didn't know how to explain, but the reality is so fantastic. Lisa hopes Uncle Wolf can help him find the murderer. Faced with the request of a beauty, Uncle Wolf readily agreed. On the other side, the two lizard monsters had a disagreement. The big brother dislikes the little brother for shooting and killing. Now it's good. Only a bunch of junk was robbed, and also injured a leg. The two thought more and more unwilling, so decided to return again. Steal the rest back. Wealth is in danger. The police would never think they would make a comeback. Rosa is sorting out the basement at this time. Suddenly heard a sound from above. The person here is the two lizard monsters. They just looked for it, and did not find Rosa hiding behind the cabinet. But unexpectedly, it's going to be unexpected. Rosa's phone rang by coincidence. Rosa stabbed a person and then take the opportunity to escape. He went to the police station to tell Nick about it. According to the flesh in the fox's mouth and Rosa's accusation at this time, the police also locked the two lizard monsters. The murderer has been determined now. Vic then said his earliest guess. He suspected that Rosa had hired a murderer. Murdered brother sees the inheritance because Rosa has left a lot of bad files in the Forbidden Bureau. He used to be a problem girl. That was a long time ago. Rosa doesn't want to mention it anymore. It's not early. Nick plans to send police to protect him, but Rosa specifically asked Uncle Wolf to come. Maybe it's because of the trust of the same Grimm creature. Uncle Wolf rushed over as soon as he heard the news. I thought it was the fox sister who had a crush on herself, but Rosa explained. It turned out to be used as a police dog again. It's better to be a free police dog for Nick. The old six. On the other side, the captain secretly summoned the witch again. Although Nick is a rookie Grimm, but he is self-taught. In order to control this Grimm, the captain must arrange in advance. He took out a physical examination blood of the old black. The task of the Ada camp is to capture the heart of the old black. The witch smiled knowingly when she took the blood. This is too simple, but he still raised his doubts. Why would the captain let himself seduce the old black, a mortal?